Early afternoon. It's Chris here, aka Kermie, and welcome to Reading with Kermie. And we've been doing reading the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff series, and this is volume 2 with the family. And we're moving quite along actually with this book, as I explained yesterday. I'm reading with Kermie, and we're on chapter 95. And I know I just did a reading with Kermie yesterday, but I feel like a little inspiration. It's early afternoon, and plus, since we are moving right along and we're so close to the end of volume 2, to move on to volume 3, figure why not, right? So, can't promise a reading Kermie tomorrow, but we're moving right along regardless. And we're on chapter 95. Just gonna get this started here. It's warm outside. I just took a little stroll around the apartment complex. So, let me get my reading glasses on so we can get started, shall we? So, 95 is titled Reverse Roles with Your Spouse, which is kind of odd, but I don't have a spouse, but I'm already thinking, I guess, reverse roles can mean for anybody. But anyway, let's get started with the chapter and see what it has to reveal, shall we? Alright, reverse roles with your spouse. It's sad, yet the easiest person to take for granted, probably the person you love most in the world, your spouse. It's so easy to get lost in your own world instead of real life responsibilities that you begin to believe that your spouse has it much easier than you do, or you forget, or perhaps don't even realize, in parentheses, how hard your spouse works on your behalf. The tendency can create a great deal of resentment, yet is to a large degree very preventable. The key to prevention is to put yourself in your spouse's shoes. Like I said, I guess could work for any relationship that's near you. I'm going to give you an example here, knowing that there are millions of exceptions to this stereotype. I'm aware that in today's world, many, if not most, families have two income earners, and that many, if not most, families share many of the responsibilities at home. I'm also aware that women are often the ones who work while men stay at home with the kids. See if you can see through my stereotypical examples. However, to the heart of this important message, many of my own male friends have fallen into the trap of taking their spouses for granted. I'm happy to report, however, that some have been helping by taking the strategy to heart. A common example is a man who works and he's married to a woman who stays at home. And of course, she works hard too. In this typical chauvinistic example, the husband convinces himself that his wife is lucky and often minimizes the importance of her role. He believes her needs are being met while he's out working all day, and he rarely contributes much at home in the way of chores, children, and household responsibilities. He feels put out when asked to do the simplest of things. He's absolutely aware of how hard he works, but takes his wife's role completely for granted. It's shocking, but often very good for a marriage in cases like this, for the husband to take over the home for a week or even a few days while his wife visits friends and takes a break. Many men are so frightened by this suggestion that they get the point before they actually forced to go through the experience. They often realize when push comes to shove that they are absolutely incapable of doing the important daily task of running a home and raising children. They also realize how exhausting it can be. This is truly hard work. The idea of course, is switching roles and is to regain a sense of gratitude as well as compassion for what one person does for the other. Of course, this strategy works both ways. It's also very common for a stay-at-home mom to take her husband for granted. She might, for example, complain about late nights or missed dinners without fully realizing how difficult it can be to earn a living. In most instances, it's unrealistic for a non-working spouse to actually reverse roles for a week. However, she or he could really benefit from trying to imagine what it would be like to actually go out and earn enough money to satisfy the financial needs of her or his family. This can be a shocking realization for someone who doesn't actually have a job. The point of this mental exercise is not to determine whose job is more difficult or important, but to recognize the importance and inherent difficulty in both aspects of life. Regardless of your personal situation, and even if you and your spouse both work and both help out at home, it can be enormously helpful to experiment and play around with this strategy. If you do, I think you'll begin to realize and appreciate how much your spouse does for you and how difficult his or her life can be at times. And I can assure you that everyone loves to be appreciated. When people are appreciated, they are more fun to be around. That last statement is very true. We do love to be appreciated, and everybody does, and that's great reading. Even though I don't have a spouse, but as I started reading even the title, I was reflecting back to past relationships. Actually, my most current relationship, we both worked, but there was times where, I took my girlfriend for granted, and we all get in that trap a lot of times, and so forth. But those are great reminders to say, wow, it's okay to mentally reverse roles for a while, and find that gratitude in each other, because there's times where I've walked away from relationships. There's times where I've been pissed in relationships because I felt like I was doing everything. But it takes two to tango in life, and we both equally contribute, and that goes for every relationship. For example, I'm living with my sister right now, and been living with her for a couple of years again in my life, and there's times, especially with family, that I can get irritated and take things for granted and not share my gratitude and hold those resentments that, in all reality, don't really need to be there. And, that's something I've been working towards off and on for a long time, to switch roles and, find that gratitude, like I said. And some days are more challenging, let me tell you, but it's well worth it. Well worth to say, hey, we both contribute. No matter, sometimes I might not be working, like I haven't worked for a long time, but I'm contributing at the same time, doing my half rent, etc., etc. But anyway, there's times where I get butthurt, resentful, and angry, and I do everything around here type attitude, and sometimes I feel like that's true, but most of the time it's just an illusion in my head. So I gotta step back and say, hey, what is the reality of the situation, and find out the truth of it all, and not just what I think or what I'm perceiving at that moment of anger or frustration, resentment. So that is a great freaking reading to remind me that slow down, see what's real, and not take my roommate, girlfriend, spouse, whoever it might be, friend, for granted. we all got a lot to work through. I definitely got still a lot of work through in my life, and that's okay, because life is an ongoing process of learning and experiencing and growing and changing. It never stops. That flow of life, that river of life, man. So, on that note, I want to say thank you for listening, and hope you guys are having a great day, and don't take your spouse for granted, because we all work together for the common goal of family, life, and the contribution of it all. So, hope you guys are doing well, and one more thing, if you guys are watching, please like the video and share with your friends and subscribe, and let this Kermie karaoke and reading with Kermie continue in life, because I enjoy doing it. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm just making a personal journal, but which is alright too, you know. So, pay it forward. I love you guys. Peace.